Okay, I think it's okay. It's already 20. So, hi everyone. Thank you for your interest in this subject and welcome to the new realities of SaaS. Why building is harder than ever. And it's not going to stay only there. We're also going to do something about it because it makes no sense just to do a conference about why it's harder or just bad. We're going to do something to make it nicer. Before everything, I'm going to present a bit myself. My name is Rubiera. I'm the CTO of CloudIAM, which is a SaaS in the cybersecurity stage. We work in the IAM environment, so identity and access management. So we're in cybersecurity. We are international SaaS, so we have clients all around the globe. We have millions of users. We have thousands of requests per second. We are certified. We are an organic company, so we didn't do any seed round, nor we don't have any VC. We are our shareholders and stakeholders are people from the company. And I came from the south of France today to be with you, to talk to you about SaaS. I'm not going to talk to you about cybersecurity or IAM. We can talk later if you want. I'll be here until Saturday, so don't hesitate. I've been around like 15 years in tech, so I started like an embed developer. So I started developing on C with BCBox, if you ever heard about it. Then I grew up the ladder, I did DevOps, I'm a certified cloud architect, I did software engineering, tech lead, the team lead, whatever you call it now, and now CTO. I've been also a lecturer for about 5 years. I've been teaching students in engineering schools. I've been talking to people, teaching different kind of stuff in this area, but not only, since, let's say, 2020 or more or less. I'm very passionate about pets, music, and gym, so if you ever want to talk about your favorite race of dogs or any pet, just come afterwards and we can discuss. Before we start talking about what you want to see from this conference, I'm going to tell you how I measure this conference. So usually when we talk about SaaS, we talk in growth stages. So to who I'm talking to? People that are creating, to want to create, so you are in stage 0. People who already did a POC or an MVP, but has no users, so they are maybe in the first stage, so 1. And then it grows like this. So sometimes this conference is for 0 to 1, or 1 to 10, on 10 to 100, or 100 to 1,000, and so on. This number can mean users, can mean millions of dollars of euro of investments, of ROI. It can mean many, many stuff, but myself, I decided to do it a bit different. So I took 2 things that are known numbers, none of them. I took first pi. Why I chose it is because it's very little, it's not exact, and we can continue going from it. So you can say pi is 3, 3.1, 3.14, and you can continue all the way there. And then usually it's 1, 10, 10. So there is a kind of a layer that you have to go through. In my case, I decided to go and say there is no limit. So I asked ChatGPT to draw something like infinite with something nice, so it decided to do infinite with I. And for me, this means, you're going to see it very fast, that what I'm going to show you today is not limited to a size of the company. It is harder for everybody, any company, and the rules that I'm going to tell you applies to them. What it applies that is different, and that is now. Maybe in 3 years it will be different, but it applies to everybody. So, without further ado, the agenda today will be, in the first 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to answer the question of why it's harder. So if you're only interested to see why it's harder, in 15 minutes you can go. Then we're going to do, okay, why is harder now and what can we do now? So divide it in 2. The context of 2025, and it's very biased because it's only my perception of the subject. The definition of the new minimum in the MVP, which continuously change. And as nobody can do a conference today without talking about AI, I'm going to talk a little bit, but not that much about AI, more about hype. And how can we use hype now and maybe in the future to build what you are going to build, or what you're already building. And then some takeaways. So let's start. We're going to do some time travel. Let's go to 2016, which for me it sounds like something like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, which is soon 10 years ago. Many things happened in 2016. Some were binge watching Stranger Things. Its first season started in 2016. Others were watching Westworld. I never seen, but I heard it's an amazing TV series. Others were watching still Game of Thrones, which was like its sixth season back then. Others were more in the movies. So for me, it's amazing to think that I saw Deadpool almost 10 years ago, and I feel it was yesterday. For others, Deadpool had too much blood, so they were watching La La Land, which the song Dancing in the Moonlight for me is like a new pop song of last year. Others were remembering Harry Potter by watching Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Others are blessed to not know that guy, but if you know that guy, you know what is pen, pineapple, apple, pen. Some were neither in the TV series nor movies. They were enjoying what they call the best summer of gaming ever, which was 2016 with Pokemon Go. Others were more in reality, or still enjoying Pokemon Go. Others were trying to do the mannequin challenge, which I never did, but it was the thing back then in that summer too. Others were discussing about politics because the referendum of Brexit was done that year too. Others were sad because of the death of David Bowie. And apparently, I cannot talk about internet without talking about that gorilla. For those who know internet, they know about Arambe. If you don't know who is Arambe, it's like 42. You just need to know that since he died, our timeline changed. Apparently, everything is going bad. You can say COVID, Russia, everything is because he died. But something happened during that year too, that for somewhere was very, very hard, which was a bug from Salesforce. So I'm not going with little companies, directly with the big ones. So I'm going to read with you a timeline of what happened. So in 2016, there was Salesforce NA14 outage. So for those who don't know what is Salesforce, it's a CRM, Customer Relationship Management Software or whatever. So you basically handle your new customers, your old customers, your partnerships, so things that maybe not directly means money, but indirectly, because anything that your client is happy or your new client is going to be can have an impact. And NA14 means, so Salesforce, and I found out this because of this incident, works in deploying it in environments. So they have many what they call instances, and the instances, they are deployed somewhere. So NA means North America, and 14 means it was the 14th instance of North America. So something happened. Let's check the timeline. So in May 10, 2016, a database clusters in Salesforce NA14 instance was hit by a power distribution failure in data center. So this is something that nowadays, if you are in SaaS, it's happening in every summer. This is happening. Maybe this time was not because of heat, but every summer there is some data center either is burning, either they are turning it off because it's too warm. But this is very common nowadays. Usually when this happens, you have RPO, you have backups, and you have failover working for it. So if something happens, you have your backup, and you put in another instance, and you lose maybe 2-3 minutes because of switching the instance, and that's good. But what happens is that when your recovery system is itself a single point of failure, it can fail. So what happened is that it failed. A failover to backup system caused a file system corruption on the main database, which means it's not only that it failed and everything was burning, it also that they couldn't switch. So it means that everything that happened there died. So that was the 10th. So during 2 days, where everybody was running and yelling and please give me some water because everything is burning, there was an intermittently outage of about 24 hours. So you can imagine that if you have an application that was using Salesforce, you were contacting your supplier or your client, maybe half the messages were sent, maybe half of the tickets were created, maybe nothing was working. And the engineers, of course, saving with the big cape of Superman, perform multiple restore and partial restores. And 1 day later, so we're talking about an incident that lasted 3 days or 4 days. Salesforce admitted some irreversible data loss, estimated to 3.5 to 5 hours of customer transactions, which for some, if you have 0 clients, this means nothing. If you have a lot of clients, this could mean millions of dollars of euros, depending where you are. So now let's talk about the consequence. Customers affected. So all the business that were running in this instance were having the issue. Tens of thousands of users across hundreds of companies. 3.5 to 5 hours of data loss. Nearly a full day of instability. So it's not only that I lost those hours, it's that I couldn't work well afterwards either. And the media marked it as a mega outage. And many jokes and memes spread widely. And you're going to see why the memes spread. So the first one will be the obvious one, that is, okay, there is something going wrong in a data center. This is a tweet back then. What is happening? But there is something very particular with this incident, is that the big guy tried to do the nice thing, but the nice thing doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. So if you don't know, maybe it's a bit little, if you don't know who is Mark Benioff, he's a billionaire CEO of Salesforce. I don't know if he still is the CEO, but he was the CEO back then. And he became a joke, not because he was doing a bad thing, but because he was replying to everybody. So imagine thousands of users saying, or maybe people just trolling, saying, oh, Salesforce is shit. He was replying, oh, I'm sorry. So I'm going to take the message that is almost the same. I'm sorry for our service distribution on blah, blah. Please email me. So directly, so if you want to have a coffee with him, you could. As, I don't know, working in, I don't know what company, in what city, and what country. And he was replying systematically to every person with the issue. Some were copy-paste, as you see there. It's just an extract of 5. But you see the second one, email me, I'll give you all the details. This doesn't sound very copy-paste. So he really allocated the time. Is this bad? Is this good? It's up to you, but this became a joke. But now let's talk about the consequence and the money. So people were making jokes, there were issues, 2-3 days, but what happened? In reality, nothing happened. There was no public compensation program. The stock market stayed around the same, so it was like $77, that today doesn't sound like nothing. No churn was declared, so I'm talking about the public information. But even in the private information, there is an article that I put down there that in 2024, so 8 years after, they are saying that that issue costed around 20 million. If you put this into context, 20 million out of a company that it was worth $1.2 billion is nothing for such a big issue. Now, let's time travel again. So now you are in Salesforce, 20 million, about a day, or half a day, well, depends, 3.5 to 5 hours. During working hours could be the whole day. But let's time travel again. Now let's go back to 2022, which is more recent, and many things happen. I'm not going to go back to all of that because I don't have that much time. But we're going to talk about Atlassian. So same, there was a cloud outage in this case. So April 2022, a routine maintenance script went wrong. I think this phrase happens very, very often. It could be, I was going to clean the database, or I was cleaning my Docker instances. I was cleaning my images, and I did a Docker prune. If you don't know this command, it can delete your containers, your images, and your volumes, and I run it by mistake in production, let's say. Can happen. And accidentally deleted cloud sites belonging to 775 customers. We will see representation, what does this mean. So 6 to 11, we are talking about a week. They managed to graduate it restored, but it was slow and manual, because as you can imagine, 775 doing it one by one when it's manual can take very long. The Atlassian used database backup and recovery tools, but Yes, it was manual, it was also complex, but most of the customers were already restored in about a week. And then in the second week, so it's taking long, in the second week, there was still a subset, about hundreds of clients that remained offline 14 days. So 14 days without the product you are paying, which is huge. And on the 18th, they announced that everything was restored. So let's talk now about the consequences as we did with the other. 775 out of 226,000 of users, which is less than 0.5% of their customers. But these were paying customers. So these are the good customers that are paying a lot of money, from mid to large. Even if most of them weren't within a week, a lot of them, minority, still waited to about 2 weeks to have their app working. There was less than 5 minutes of data. So now we can play a little bit. Maybe they would have done the same Salesforce and say, okay, you just lost the data. Maybe that wouldn't have taken so long. But this we don't know. What products were impacted? So we're talking about Jira, Confluence, and Jira Service Management. So we're not talking about very critical. Like maybe you could say, well, in reality, when we push to production, we are very coupled to Jira, and we create a ticket. Maybe. So maybe you cannot push into production because you are very coupled to Jira. But then uncoupling Jira shouldn't be that complicated. So if you got stuck because Jira was not working, like the criticity of the app itself cannot be more than Salesforce. That is your direct connection with users. And then the reaction, let's put it simple, same as with Salesforce. And this one of the memes that I found online back then, day 4 of Atlassian outage, rocks become Scrum boards, backlogs, and wikis. So probably many shops were selling a lot of sticky notes and whatever. Trello probably got a lot of users during those days. Again, and last time we do, money consequence. So if we put into context, about 0.3% of the customers, no data was lost. It's not that critical as a product itself for the business. So people, maybe they were angry, maybe it was just product owners that say, I need to go back to Trello. Some developers, I need to remove the integration of Jira, and I need to. But let's say it's not that business critical, is your relationship with the clients and future leads. And what I'm going to show you is just 2 images to show you how the money impact had this. So here in my left, you have the stock price history of Atlassian. So this is 2022. This is April, May 2022. And as you can see, things maybe were not doing that well the first day of April, the 1st of April, but then the curve started. And it went down, like it took almost a month to stop going down. But I will play fair. Stock markets is not decided by one thing. So we are seeing here that it went from around 320 to around 180. So I would say 1.5 to 2. So it was divided by almost half of the value of the stock market. But let's play it fair. Let's compare with the full year, which is not doing better. So as you can see here, there was already a trend of more or less going down. It was going down, going up, like any day in the stock market. But when this happened, you can say it happened once, it went up in March. When it happened in April, it took many, many months to recover. And I didn't check if something happened in September, but it went even further. So if we compare the start of the incident itself with the end of the incident and let's say the replica, the consequences after, during only those 2 months, it's actually better than if we compare the year itself. So if we go to the year, we are at almost $400, the action at the 1st of January 2022. And if we compare with the 31st December 2022, you could see that let's say it's almost around 100. So you see here we lost almost half. Here, the capitalization went to a fourth of its value. So you could extrapolate that maybe half of this was this, but you cannot say, based on both of these, that this didn't have any consequence. So that proved my point. It gets harder, it's more complicated. We are seeing about 5 minutes of data, about not even 1% of the customers, and this has a lot of impact. Now let's go back to the now. Let's say, what do people want now? We are only talking about 2025. And right now I'm gonna show you 2 pictures of feedback our client give us. So to give you a bit of context, we did a front-end in Vue.js, and we did a front-end on React, because we wanted to go to React for reasons. And we did a progressive rollout, and we allowed our customer to jump from one to the other. And if they like something from the old one, they could say, well, I'm going back to the old one because I don't like how you did this, okay? And the user flow is simple. You are, by default, in the new one, you can go to the old one. When you click to go to the old one, you are bring with a pop-up that says, you want to give us some feedback. You can say, there is literally a button that says, just let me go if you don't want to give any feedback. And then you can also say if you want to give it publicly or not, if you want us to know that you gave the feedback. So what I'm going to show you right now are 2 pictures of our Slack with feedback of clients that publicly said, or that they say that we can share publicly their message. I still made it anonymously, and it should be very little, so I'm going to read. So the rating is from 1 to 5, and the feedback is really great job on the latest version of the console. The UI is minimal and elegant, and there is a ton of appreciable features. Just had a little trouble finding the feature, any feature. I thought it had been removed, but it's probably just me. From one perspective, this is a not paying. We are not giving them anything for the feedback. That person gave that feedback because they felt giving it. So from one perspective, amazing. We have really people who took their time to say, oh, you're doing a very nice job. From another perspective, I would say, if you didn't find this functionality, it is that good? Like maybe there is a problem in the user experience. So I wouldn't give it 5 out of 5, maybe 4 or 4.5, which they cannot give 4.5 stars. And then the other one is 1 out of 5. This is the minimum you can give. And I'm going to also read, come on, can I just check out the old console now? Your UI is already crap. Now you block navigation by this pop-up. I don't have feedback yet. Like, please let me go. And it's exactly, we have a button that says, please let me go. You don't need to give any feedback. And what I want to show you with this is that you might have different typologies of user. But right now, let's say people they care about what they see. They care to share. They say, okay, this is going forward and I care. Remember that many products are, you could say McDonald's is not a service, but you don't go to McDonald's to say, yeah, I really like that you went back in this new building, looks very nice. People don't share anything about McDonald's to McDonald's itself. But we're in a period where we consume a product, and if it represents me, I want it to succeed, and I like how it's moving, and I'm going to share it with you. From the other perspective, and it's not only binary, I don't care who you are as a company. I am a customer, I know my value, and I want things well and now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to do what you want me to do. I'm paying or not. We have freemium users too. I don't know if that user is paying or not, none of them. But I am the customer. Even if I'm not paying, I'm using your product for a reason, and I came here and I want to do this because of this reason. And the people are aware of their rights. Then from now on, I'm not gonna share pictures of it. This is more the dude, trust me, I'm taking it from our CRM. These are leads that told us things, or clients that left the product because of reason, and I'm gonna share you as transparent as I can. And I'm gonna start with one, that is that clients in the past, products itself, we, in the technology, in the tech domain stage, we were more apolitical. Politics was not a subject in tech. You were doing crypto, you were doing whatever you were doing that. Whatever is happening in there, whatever is happening in the White House, it's not related. Right now, people are not even companies are apolitical anymore. And how you will see this transposed to what we are doing, we have a very subtle way to see it first, then we will go to more and more pragmatic. We have these type of messages. I am an European blah blah, health tech, cybersecurity, blah blah, tech company, and I would like to use your product. Where is the subtlety? Is the positioning of the word where I am from. We work with big companies, private, public companies all around the world. You don't have to. We would say, we don't care. We give you if you want the product, it doesn't matter if you are from here or there, we give you the product. But it's the other way. I come to you because I share something with you. This is I represent a French company. And some clients, they go and they say, I am European, and this is why I'm here. In the past, the phrase would have been, I'm a health tech company based in LA or based in Paris. Now it's the other way. I'm first European, then I'm in tech. And this has impacts in other stuff. And you will see more and more how this becomes more and more important right now in the current ecosystem. It's not that I would rather it maybe be more apolitical, and you will see when it gets political that I don't like, but it's something that you have to be aware of the current trends. We cannot just forget about what is happening in the world and say, no, reply to this kind of clients, well, actually, I don't care if you are European. No, you respond to the client politely, and you say, oh, okay, very good. We are based here, too, and we are also European. And this is one where I wouldn't be the proudest of having most of my clients that are like this. This is not what I aim for. And luckily, it's not the case. Geopolitical matters now. This message was sent around 2 months after Trump announced the tariff, the famous tariff. We got a client, a lead. I don't even know if he signed. I want to stop using this at any product name, American solution. We would say like, wow, so in a period of 2 months, we are talking about our product can cost from free to tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands per month. So it's not a product that you change every day. You don't change your whole stack of identity and access management because it's so critical. But people are starting to do the switch because of the political. I would say my motto for me is I want to do the best I can. I don't want to be chosen because I'm European, which I'm not European myself. I'm from a little island in America called Dominican Republic. So I don't put the label of, okay, I want to sell because I'm Dominican or because I'm European or French. I want you to buy because it's the best it can be. And compare us with the best, not because with just the current local market. No, it doesn't matter where you are, we're going to do the best. Still, I wouldn't say no to this client. Okay, you want to stop using? I will convince you that you were lucky that you contacted us, and it was the best decision you could make. But this started to happen and will continue to happen. And this is one perspective. From the other side, has happened too. Just that maybe the people don't say. You churn, you lose clients and probably leads because of the same constraint. Maybe I want to stop using this European because I want to use a local Chinese. I want to stop European because of Trump tariffs, so I'm going to use American because I'm American. Any tool you want to use, this is also part of the current context of 2025. Now, leads are also not afraid to ask. So this is very interesting because in the past, people used to take a pricing like it's the Bible. It's like you arrive, this is the law. If I say 10, you're paying 10. Right now, you will have leads that arrive by themselves in whatever app you are selling, and they're going to go, hey, do you have a startup plan discount? But I'm like, I don't know if you're making money. Who are you? I don't have any way to prove you're a startup of Indonesia. I don't know how. I don't know, but they go, they dare. They know, you or customers, they think, it doesn't matter, or leads, They're going to ask. They don't care. You're not going to stop selling because they ask something that you don't have. You're going to say just no, or maybe we discuss later. And this can be pragmatized in different ways. So one is plan discount. The other is, oh, this is more, let's say, a rich people problem. I'm already using this pricing of yours, and I'm going to go to the next step. It could be from free to paying. It doesn't matter the level. It's not 10 to hundreds of thousands. It could be from free to paying, but it's expensive. So they will say, don't you have any solution that can work for me? And one very interesting, that I don't know if everybody got into the AWS era where you can sign contracts for 3 years, but a lot of big clients, so in going into the level, usually the first one is, I'm a lead, I don't have anything from you. I want to start using your product, and I want to know before. Then I'm using your product, so maybe you are small, medium company, doesn't matter. And then you have the, let's say, the big guys who say, okay, I will buy, I'm sure, because I'm engaging in 3 years. If I do this, I know you want money. Don't you make me a discount if I stay 3 years with you? People, you don't need to offer them. You don't need to put it on the website. We don't have it on our website. Still, people ask. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, depending on the client. But be aware that it doesn't matter if you work very intensively in your pricing, very low possibility that nobody's going to challenge it. It's little, maybe a freelance is going to challenge it, or a huge company. In another perspective, clients also use kind of blackmail. They know the value of churning. So to leave the company, leaving the product, stop using your product. So you have it in 2 different sources. You have, well, I'm with your competition because we are not the only product in IAM. Not even in Europe, we are the only one. But they are too expensive. So they say, in a way, this tells you, okay, you can use us, but it already comes from one that is expensive. Don't you do something better or cheaper or somehow? And from the other side, say, well, actually, I'm going with the competition because it's less expensive or it's cheaper for us. So people, they say this. You wouldn't do this with McDonald's. You don't go and say, actually, I don't want your burger because I found out that Burger King is actually cheaper right now. You just don't go and you don't say, you just cancel. Well, people are doing and saying this kind of stuff. Maybe what they want is you for selling the burger cheaper or to give them 2 burgers to using this information. But there is a reason why people are sharing it, and it's useful. It can at least help you to know maybe your pricing is too expensive. Maybe you are not doing the right features. But this could help you to move forward. And going in a bit in the apolitical way, people are also aligning the values of themselves with the products. So in the past, we didn't have more choices. You know, like when you start Netflix, there were not much. When you TV, like we didn't have that much products to do stuff. The more we have options, the more we can put the bar high and say things like, I want to use a product because it's open source. So OSS, if you don't know what it is open source software. So this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's going to work better, it's going to work higher. It's just a value. I believe in the open source community. I want to invest in the open source community. You sell open source. I want to use it because I believe in this idea of open source. Say, okay, this aligns with the value, great, because we also believe. The reason you are coming is because we also believe in the open source. That's why we are selling open source, because we believe in it and we invest on it. And in the other part, you have things that are a bit more complicated that I have no idea if it exists, but we have these kind of messages of, can you deploy in a carbon neutral data center? And I'm like, okay, I hope our CSM, so our customer success manager, he knows everything about every data center because this is a very hard question. I don't know if this exists. I don't know in what countries. I don't know what clouds they provided, but they want it. Clients and leads, they want to be able to say, I'm ecological, I'm whatever it could be. I like guns. I want a company that also sells guns, that is not against guns. I have the choice. I want to put my personal values, This could be CEOs, CTOs, CISO too. Doesn't matter who it is, but they want to put the values because my values of my company are this, and I want to use products that goes with those values. Do that add anything to the product itself? No, but it's important to know. And it's important to also take a value. Don't stay without value, we just do a product because nobody right now is not impacted by values. You need to take a stand. Don't stay without stand. Now, as we have the bar that is higher, but why the bar is higher? It's because we need less trust. How this materializes is that, okay, I don't need to know if you sell a really, really good product. I know all the people who sell good products because they are certified. So I can focus myself in carbon neutral. In this case, it could be, okay, we need ISO. We need SOC 2 if you're in Europe. It could be PCI DSS, which is the one for credit card, for card information. Or every country, I'm taking here the one from France, the certification for health data. Every country has one, and this allows companies to say, okay, I don't need to worry if you're going to sell our information to the Russian or to whatever, to whoever, or you're going to sell it to private, to another company so you can make money out of my product twice. You respect it because you are certified. So this gives me a layer of, I don't need to worry as a customer. So customers that go directly, it's not that they are imposed by. No, they say, okay, I'm going to look by companies that are ISO, and I'm going to work around that. If you don't have it and not even look at it, it can be very, very good in open source, but you're not SOC 2, I'm not going to look at it. So very important. And that will be it in that part, but it's not the only part. The only things that context right now in 2025 is important. All the clients, they want SLA from day zero, so you're still not making much money. Maybe you're not making money. The first thing that many clients or leads will want is, do you do Six Sigma? How many nines you have after a 99? No, less than 2 nines I don't take. I don't know, maybe the cloud provider doesn't give itself 99.99. I don't know, but I'm not going to use it because I cannot trust you. The bar is that high. In the past, you could lose 3 hours of data. Nothing happened. Right now, no. I need to calculate. I can lose up to 5 minutes. So 99.999. Okay, if you don't do less than 3 nines of the 99, I don't take you. Service visibility. So as the bar is higher, I not only want you to work, I want to see people around you using it. Because why are you in the ecosystem? This happens a lot in finance. If you are thinking in going in fintech, if you are not in fintech, it's very hard. So getting into fintech is very hard. We have had leads that tell us, can you send us the list of, it doesn't matter, it could be from America, from LATAM, or United States, or the other side of the world. And they will tell you, can you send me the list of the fintech companies you have? But you can be the first one, maybe. No. Before, even if you pass everything, I want to see who uses you. This can be translated to documentation. It can be translated if I find you in Google very easily. Keywords, what do you do? Conferences, is reachability. Everybody wants now a client direct connection. So I'm going to be your client, but I want a Slack channel with you. Which, in some contexts, it could be a bit crazy. Like, I'm gonna buy a Tesla, and I'm gonna have the AI auto driver, but I want a Slack channel with your engineers that work in AI, because if I have any issue, I want to contact them. Be like, what? But yeah, people are asking this even to companies that they not making money. We are a profitable company, and we see this, and we handle it in a way. But this is something that from day zero, you have to take in consideration. And finally, something that I will feel is very weird because there is a counter wave going against it. Probably you heard about the CEO of NVIDIA saying that we don't do roadmap. We don't talk more than 3 or 6 months. We don't know, and that's it. And you take it or leave it. Some leads that will tell you, okay, everything is good, but I want to know what you're going to do next. For us, more than 3 months is also too long. We are iterating so fast, we don't know what we're going to do. But some leads, in the public sector, they will tell you, I want to know what you're going to do in a year or in 2. In our case, 2026. which is like for me is another risk for almost another company. Maybe we'll change colors there. Maybe we won't do IAM, even if we're profitable. But some people, they want this. And that's why we're going to get in one of the last part of the presentation, which is what is the minimum in the MVP of 2025. So now we're going to the point zero of creating a SaaS. And I'm going to do it fairly fast. It's just 3 slides. You don't need to know anything because I created a website for it with some context and some tools you can use. And what is important now is not that much the tools themselves. For me, the tools are just, you're going to ChatGPT. There are other tools like this one. But what are the things you should take in consideration? I wrote easy level, but it will be things that you not necessarily need when you start developing, so before. First thing, connect to users. Slack, Discord. You can have a newsletter. You are not doing anything, but you still have some traction. You have a way to connect with the potential users. So you don't need anything to be able to have a free Discord or a free Slack. Reliable support. So if you're already on Slack, you can use the tool itself for the Slack. You can use the tool itself for support. But you can go a bit deeper because maybe some clients, they want to say mail. So you can start thinking about the typology of your users. If they are more phone, more mail, more Slack, more Discord. To see, okay, let me think about a tool I can use for everything. I put the Slack twice. Ourselves, we use Crisp, which is, I think, a French tool that does everything on the support. We can connect it to Slack. We can connect it to our mails. For the client, it's transparent. We have also a conversational support that they can use in the app that is made by Crisp, so we don't need to struggle on the message is sent, the message is written by someone. No, everything is handled by the product itself. Reach and communication. So right now, it's more important. One of the key things I'm saying with this is that functionality is not enough. Your product working is not enough. One of the things we want to see is, okay, how many stars you have in GitHub, right? If you're just in an open source project. For normal customers that are not technical, they translate different stuff. It could be Reddit, it could be Twitter or X, LinkedIn, newsletter. Use this tool to share your information. Maybe you haven't coded anything, but you have this idea, share it. We are in an era where if people are going to steal your tweet because you are thinking in creating something, they did it faster. So it's okay. You will create more traction by sharing information. It's worth, because you will see if you're thinking the right thing for the current context. And related to the customer feedback, so this is more how you adapt the customer eventually to your roadmap. Could be like, I'm going to share my roadmap with everybody. Instead of saying, okay, I need to do some slides for our internal team, or I'm using GitLab and I cannot share the GitLab Trello-like tool, how can I do? Or the GitLab roadmap itself, what can I do? You can use a single tool for that. These are tools you can use. Ourselves, we use GitLab because we have clients that know GitLab, which we can share with everybody. Then we go to, let's say, once you start developing. And this is the only part I'm going to talk about my company just 1 second. Nobody wants to sign into your product. Nobody. If you start your application with, I'm going to create a registration app, you're already losing time. Nobody wants to create, nobody wants to give you their data. We want SSO, single sign-on. I want to be able to connect with my Gmail. I want to be able to connect with my Apple account. I don't want to give information. Instead of doing it yourself, you can use tools. You can use us, Cloud IAM, but there are others. You have Firebase who does it. You have Okta. You have Ping Identity. You have many you can use. That's the only time I'm going to talk about my company. Done. Now, you're thinking of creating something, website. So in the past, we were creating things with WordPress. Takes long. It's hard to create something in WordPress without coding a little bit. My advice is, if you're not going to redo the wheel, use low code, use no code, use Lovable. It's cheap, it's fast, your product itself is not a website. So don't spend energy in a website. Clients, they want to see. Leads want to see, because we are in the step where I am creating, there is nothing yet. They want to see things, and they want to see them fast. Don't spend time thinking, okay, I'm going to do a roller here and then an information here. Either just prompt and just take the components. Don't waste your time on that, because that's not, your product is not a website, but the website is the door to your product. This might sound a bit repetitive, because if you ever develop, you probably know them already. Email sending critical. Try to use a tool that is not breaking very often, that is not getting banned very often. Try to use tools that one for marketing and another one to send messages to your client, because if you use the same for both, you might get banned and you might get into the spam, even if it's someone creating an account. So we use our self-resend, which works very well. We migrated from another one that was getting us in the spam very often. Payment and billing, which probably you all know Stripe, but even if you don't know, Stripe and ChatGPT tell me what are a Stripe alternative for payment, and you use whatever you want. Probably there is one even specifically for a niche market, and maybe you are going to work in a niche market. So try to get information. Never develop something related to payment yourself, only if that's going to be your business. So you're going to be in fintech. Documentation, same. Don't even try to put it into your website. Like, okay, I'm going to do, okay, Luis, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to use a Plasmic that is open source. So I'm going to do my documentation there. Wrong. Documentation is a whole system by itself. If you're going to do anything like how to use A or how to use B, clients, they want it with 2 clicks. So you can use tools like Notion, which is open source, Notion or Docusaurus, which is open source. I would advise to use the tools that are specialized for that. Don't waste your time on adapting something that kind of exists. It goes very, very fast. You just take a Notion page and just do what is that you want to do. That is, write the documentation and for the users to find it very fast. And it's not expensive. Now we go to what is the feature tracking. So if you're creating something, and let's say you have 1, 2, 3 free customers, so nobody's paying for your thing, and you start to think, am I doing the right thing? And then you get to RGPD. So for those who are aware of RGPD, we should ask before adding anything to the cookies, to track the user, we have to respect the user, at least in Europe. But there are some tools that are RGPD compliant that allows you to see anonymously how users are using your app. Maybe you don't know who it is or how he got there, but you can have maybe a funnel that you want to see. Okay, are the user using the app as I thought it? Am I right with the funnel I did? Maybe I'm not an UX, a user experience designer, but maybe I'm wrong. And it's something that's very known in tech. If you develop something one way, the client, the user is going to find 99 ways to not do it your way. So I'm going to give you this one that is called Rivet, very useful, and it's compliant with RGPD. We are right now poking it to add it from one specific functionality that we want to be sure is developed in the right way for the user to use them, to not make them lose time. And something that many, many developers or many, many people, they allocate a lot of time and it's totally worthless to do is notifications. So notification is critical. Let's say if you are iterating and adding more features and more features and more features, you want your clients to know there is a new feature. So maybe you can send a mail, do it manually, or use whatever tool you want. But if your tool is made to be used, the right way would be for the tool itself to say, hey, there is a new functionality. But then you start developing, and then you need to think, okay, what is the status of the notification? Does the notification itself, does it have dynamic data? What if I delete the dynamic, there is linked to a table, and I delete that table, what is going to happen? So instead of developing this, keep it simple, use a tool that does the job for you. In this case, I'm talking about Headway. It's okay if you don't know one of these tools. The objective is just to know that there are tools for that. Once you get into production, that's when things get a bit more serious. As I said, people want SLA from day 0, depending on what product you're selling. We are in the IAM, in cybersecurity, So day 1 from day -10. Maybe your product can work maybe 2 hours a day, it will be okay. To do SLA, you need to handle incidents. To be able to handle incidents, you need a team. To be able to handle this, you need to have an on-call team to do this. Instead of developing anything, use tools that does this. BetterStack, PagerDuty, Incident.io, that they can handle the calling, handle the status page by themselves. They can handle everything that is related to an incident. This will make you be able to go from I said an SLA to be able to say, I have SLI index, agreement, SLA, and SLO objective, because you are measuring everything. But this is in one part. That is what I'm showing. But then the second line is, what do I show? So this is where it gets more complicated. You might need some ELK, Elastic, Logchat, and Kibana, or you use Alert Manager, or Prometheus, or the stack with Grafana. Doesn't matter. Prompte, Alloy, you have many, many tools to do this. They will be required because what BetterStack and PagerDuty are going to do is just to call you. But why it's going to call you is these tools are going to tell you. Certification, very important. This is very localized. Try to heritage them. If you don't use data for payment, you don't need to be a certified payment entity. So no PSI, DSS. If you have certifications that are bounded by the infrastructure, it means that if you look for a cloud provider that themselves they give, you heritage them. So try to see, these are not loopholes, I'm telling you, but check if there are inheritance of certification. Not all, for example, SOC 2 and ISO are not heritageable, but some are. So just be aware of this. Obviously, I wanted to do a little parenthesis and in CI/CD, not only because it's obviously everybody should use CI/CD because nobody wants to redo deployment by hand every day, every time you want to put something into production, but also because right now you can even vibe code it. I told you I was going to talk about AI, so I'm in the next slide. But you can even vibe code. If you know how to do something to arrive to production, you can also tell to Cursor, ChatGPT, okay, I have this script that I launch every time I want to deploy. Can you create a GitLab CI out of it? It's going to work because it's very good to do this type of job. You don't care in reality if your code that is very good, you can put it very fast in a YAML. This is a very low-level job. You are developing a product. You don't want to be the best YAML developer. You have already your script, maybe Bash, maybe Go, Python, doesn't matter. You just want that process that works to put it in a GitLab CI or GitHub Action, put it in whatever format. Just please don't neglect this part because it's very hard when things get wrong. Everything here is related. If something gets wrong in the deployment, it will launch an incident that it will be measured by the second line and then launched by the first line. But if you don't have any of them, everything will fail. And finally, error tracking. Probably you all know Datadog, Sentry, New Relic, Loki. Once something goes wrong, a metric goes wrong, the next step is, okay, I don't know what went wrong, so I need to read what went wrong. I need to Java, I need to look at the stack trace, or I need to go to the system to see what happened, and you need to export this data and be accessible. So these are the tools. Now I'm going to go very fast because I don't have much time to create something meaningful. In this case, through AI, not only for AI. So as you know, right now, AI is in a loop of the hype train. Right now, we're talking a lot about MCP. And when you tell to your client and your stakeholders, oh my God, I added MCP to our servers, and everybody says, whoa, amazing. And then you tell your stakeholders or shareholders, oh, but I just added an annotation. And then we're like, so you didn't do any security, anything? I'm not going to talk about the security on AI. There are many talks about the subject. If you want to know about one, I can tell you just after. Come to me. But also, you can switch this. If you have a very non-technical shareholders, they won't react like this. But if you have very technical users, they will know. And they will say, let me try to break it. Did you do an MCP with SQL and your ChatGPT now can execute SQL without no policy? Let me try, and let me break stuff. It's very easy to break stuff on AI. So to be aware of this, to do things with it, be aware that it's constantly changing. And it's not that easy to go with it. Right now, there is no framework for MCP. MCP can break everything you have. It's not like, okay, I added MCP server to my application of users, and if it breaks, it's going to break one user. No, it can break all the users, it can break your infrastructure, it can break everything if it's done wrongly. And when it's going to be done wrongly, it can be by an hallucination of the tool of the client, or because maliciously someone wants to make it hallucinate, so it's going to be double bad. So what is going to happen? Or what is my perspective on this? Make it make sense. Yesterday was RAG, today MCP, tomorrow might be a framework for MCP. I don't think MCP is going back or down. Try to balance a real value. Don't try to go, okay, I'm going to go full MCP. Our clients are going to be able to do everything. No. Just try to think one thing. I can apply it to RAG. I used to work on RAG. Think about one type of document you want to handle, one typology, one type of metadata, one language. And then little by little you iterate. Even in the hype, you can go by iterations. And obviously, start small. Add humans, validate twice. This applies very, very much on MCP. Don't do anything without the validation of the user that is not reading. And even read, if it's an administration thing, try to validate twice before saying, okay, yeah, I showed him all the credit card number or all the user on the table. And this phrase, I like it very, very much from one conference I saw with my team. When hype becomes a bet worth making. So I'm going to talk very briefly about another type of hype that is not AI. Let's say we have the hype that comes from a belief, that usually that belief is shared, so there is a community. Well, there is not only AI that is working on this, there is actually open source, which works the other way. The open source community is a very big community that they believe in the open source, that open sourcing is the right way, and there is a constant hype on open source projects. So we say, okay, we are going to take the hype in another way. Okay. We chose the hype of Rust. So can you raise your hand if you know Rust or you have ever developed in Rust? Okay, so most of you have heard about Rust. It's a programming language. It's very cool. It's supposed to be safer. It's very demanding, and not in resources, but it's not a simple programming language. If you start in Java, it's going to be very hard. If you started in C or C++, there are some links. It shouldn't be that hard, the curve. But the community is super strong. And it's very, very tight. So they believe not only the open source, they believe in Rust as being the new CPP, the new C++. They feel like a family. So they often like that you see the same 10 people, the 20 people working in the same products, open source all the time. And because of this, we decided to take one open source project that is related to what we do, so a cloud native IAM that is called Ferrisky. Thinking, okay, we are going to do this, but we're not only going to do this because of giving to the open source community, but also because we believe it can make us grow. So I'm going to go very fast. You can scan the QR code now or later. This is the product itself. It's called Ferrisky. It's supposed to be the fastest IAM that's going to be on the market open source that you can run in your Kubernetes, you can run in local. It's supposed to become the new standard, or that's why we are working on it. It right now has 402 stars. When we took it about 2 months ago, it didn't even have 100, so we have been working, investing funds, time, marketing on it, and it has grown a lot in 2 months, and we are trying to continue to keep pushing because this is a way we believe, not only, okay, we're going to the hype because there are people giving money to AI, we are also going to give back to the open source community because we believe it's the right thing to do, and maybe we can keep growing that domain. So go very, very fast on the takeaways, the key ideas, and it's very disorganized because there is no order in what I said. This conference is only valuable for now in many aspects. Every few years, tools and requirements change. As I said, maybe users, they won't share their perspective in a few years. Maybe SLA won't become anything because now we can give 100% of SLA. Many things change, but try to understand the story so you can know what happens after. This is what happened with hype. We know what is going to happen. We know bubbles. Clients or users express what they think. Take an advantage of this. Maybe in the future it won't be like this. As I said, functional is not enough anymore. The bar is higher than just, I want to use, you have a product that works. I would advise to get on the wave of the hype, but make it make sense. It was simpler in the past, as you saw. It will be more complex in the future, because the bar will be higher. But there are right now many tools that help you. And probably in the future there will be even more. Right now you can create a bank with a BaaS solution, banking as a service. In the past it would be impossible. Right now maybe you connect 10 apps and you have a working Revolut. I will tell you with all what I said, just start by writing a prompt. Does a tool for this exist, even before starting coding? Because maybe you can gain some time in working what is real the core of your idea. And I would always say, invest in open source. If there is one thing that is good, it works in cybersecurity, it works on AI, it works on crypto, open source only helps things be better. And with this, I'm going to show you this slide. Everything that I said, all the tools, I created a lovable app. So this is the link with the list of tools that are there. You scan the QR code, it brings you there. You can scan it wherever you want. If not, you can type it there in your browser. And I will add also this presentation, the slide, to the website, so if you ever want to come back to this, you can. And a bit late, but thank you for listening to me. This is it.